In 2013, our guest here today accomplished a feat that very few elite wrestlers in Kentucky have done in the same season. Individual state championship, most outstanding wrestler, and leading their team to the team state championship. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Hunter French. I wrestled at St. X and graduated in 2013.
And of course, you're part of that proud St. Xavier Tiger Wrestling lineage. I believe you make video number 12 of the St. X Tigers that we have on the channel. Of course, we have Isaac Knable, his 4. Isaac was instrumental in getting Menu hooked up. So thank you, Isaac. We know you're going to watch this. Tendai Cherasika, we have his 3. Mark Ullman, Chris Zenner, Matthew Meyer. We have a lot of St. X guys on the channel. Just a great tradition. I believe, by my count, St. X has 27 individual state champions, 3 team state championships, 1998, 2001, and then, of course, your glory day of 2013, leading the St. X Tigers to that 3rd state championship. But we'll talk about the history a little bit later in the video. Of course, if you're watching this, chances are you know that St. X has probably one of the best overall athletic departments in the state of Kentucky. Football, basketball, baseball, tennis, golf, swimming. I think they have like the record for the most consecutive state championships ever in swimming for like any sport the KHSAA offers. Just you name it, St. X probably has an individual or a team state championship in that sport, if not multiple times over. So leading off the question series here, standard question we like to ask, how do you find wrestling? What gets you into it, man?
Yeah, it was really originally my dad's idea. We got some like newsletters in the mail when I was in 6th grade, and I had never, it wasn't something that I showed interest in off the bat. It was something that we got the newsletter. I had always loved football. It was kind of like another kind of combat slash, contact sport kind of thing that he thought I would enjoy or be good at. And so the very first one we got, so don't hate me, St. X boys, was actually from Trinity. So I did my first 2 years at in Trinity's program, and then it ended up going to St. X for high school. So yeah, started in 6th grade, wrestling for Trinity's middle school team.
I got you. No, that I kudos to for Trinity to send out those mailers to the St. X families, right? Hey, come
It just
wrestle
got to
for
be
us, right?
focused.
Got to get them over there. So you, I guess, from 6th grade on, you just competed. Maybe not for the same team, but you did wrestle from 6th grade on, correct?
I did, yes.
That's cool. And in most, not all, I don't want to say, but most, the majority of wrestling teams in Kentucky, you can have a direct correlation back to success in football. You can look at schools like Johnson Central, Sheldon Clark back when Coach Matney, and now with Coach Josh Muncie over there. We can go on and on with the names of wrestling programs and football programs that kind of go hand in hand. You can see the better the football gets, the better the wrestling gets, vice versa. They kind of feed off each other. So did you play football in high school? Did you like give it up when you got to high school? Talk us through that.
Yeah, I played my first year. So freshman year, I was 3-sport athlete. I did football, wrestling, and tennis. I know it's a weird combination. A lot of people
No,
hear
hey,
the part at the end, and they're like, okay, football makes sense, wrestling makes sense, tennis, where did that come from? That was actually my mom's sport. She got me into it. Love tennis. Um, but yeah, so I was a 3-sport athlete my freshman year. I wanted to be a linebacker in football and was stuck on second string, was working hard, trying to get myself up to first string. And I talked to coach one day after practice and I was like, what am I missing, coach? And he was just like, the other guys are like 6, 7 inches taller than you. They can just see over the line and read the play faster. And it was like one of those like frustrating moments where it's like,
yeah.
you can't really do anything about it. It's like being, a great shot in basketball, but if everybody can tower over you, it's kind of difficult if you're not at least relatively tall. So yeah, it was one of those kind of situations. I probably could have tried to switch position and go to something else. But at the time, I was, I'd done 3 years of wrestling and was really loving it. I struggled my first 2 years actually because I was in the same weight class as the coach's son, who'd been doing it since he was in second grade or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I was just going into practice and getting beat up every day. So the first 2 years were a struggle. And then just because obviously all of that experience with someone who was so good every day in practice, it kind of brought me up to speed. So third year, I actually started really enjoying myself. So going into high school, I was loving wrestling. And so after freshman year, I was like, I'm just going to focus on the two sports that I love and I have, a good chance of succeeding well in, which were wrestling and tennis. So I continued wrestling and tennis into sophomore year.
No, and that's a great story. And I mean, I hate to say that, but that's a great example of sometimes you need to move on from something. Sometimes you need to say, okay, I may love playing football, but maybe it's not the sport for me. Maybe I need to try something else. Maybe I need to dedicate and put all my resources and energy and time to these two sports that I know I can succeed at. And I mean, like I said earlier, if you're watching this, chances are you know about St. X history, Kentucky history. I mean, St. X has one of the best football programs in the state of Kentucky, if not the nation. And you could probably have went to just about any other school in the city of Louisville and probably been a starting linebacker. Probably.
Oh, I
I'm
would
not going
hope
to say for
so.
certain, but probably.
I would hope so. I fancied myself a good linebacker in grade school, but I mean, obviously that's grade school.
Hey,
So
man, listen, we're all stars in grade school, right? We're
exactly.
all stars in grade school. So you get to St. Xavier, freshman. Your first year there, you were, of course, the 09 2010 season, and 140 pounds is your weight class. I've got you in the state tournament going. Of course, you make it to a state tournament, but according to the website, with a record of 1-2, so you're there. You get the experience. Sometimes that kind of experience can be invaluable. It's priceless just to be there. I mean, even though it was at the dungeon, RIP to the dungeon, no longer exists. Still getting to see teams, getting to see wrestlers, different styles that you may not get to see, but at the state tournament. That's the thing about Kentucky is our state is so vast, it's so big that there's so many different little pockets of wrestling styles that you may not see except at the state tournament. Like the one that I keep on bringing up is Wayne County. Wayne County has the most unique style, upper body. You know you're going to get thrown. You know you're going to get a headlock. You know you're going to get you're leaving your feet unless you're just an animal.
Oh
And, sometimes you rarely see that. Or maybe a team is really good at like running a bar series or a wing series. Maybe you'll see some people run it, but you don't see them really focus on this is what we're doing from either side. We can hit it that's all we train is bars and wings. So getting to the state tournament, getting that experience, those 3 matches, invaluable.
yeah, and not only that too, just the general atmosphere itself. You don't get that in a normal tournament. Like the normal jitters and butterflies in the stomach, like you feel that every tournament that you go to.
Mhm.
But there's a difference between standing in like a school gymnasium and standing in like a giant auditorium that's full
Yeah.
of thousands of people. So just feeling that atmosphere and getting that first one kind of like under your belt is huge, but in and of itself.
That's perfect. I may cut that quote out and play it in other videos because I couldn't have said it no better. Now, 2011, though, you are a sophomore. You went up 5 pounds. You're at 145 pounds. Last year at the dungeon, you come in 4th place. So that experience paid off, man. I believe you made it to the semifinals, come up a little bit short, was able to wrestle your way back for 4th place. Very respectable showing as a sophomore. And again, that experience counts. That experience matters.
They're both seniors. What else can we add to this?
Well, John,
Now we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit. and we're going to talk about the 2012 season. Coming in, you're a returning all-stater, state placer, 152 pounds, and the injury bug bites you. So if you would, tell us a little bit about the good old injury bug as a freshman or a junior.
Yeah, the career ruiners, it happens. So yeah, we were kind of gearing up for the Mater Dei Holiday Classic, the one I think it's right before Christmas, early December, something around that time. Practicing hard. I was wrestling with my normal wrestling partner, Brandon, and I went in for a single. We were sweating our butts off, and my knee slipped out from under me, but I did not let go of that leg. My arms went out and ended up not knowing at the time, but ended up tearing my labrum in my left shoulder. And yeah, so I tried to keep, muscling through it, keep practicing with it. It popped out frequently. And it was one of those things where, I mean, my wrestling partner, whoever it was, would just come in and pop it back in. I'd go up and just shove it up against the wall and just pop it back in. So it was coming out all the time. I tried wearing one of those neoprene sleeves, which was really restrictive, hard to move in, very hot to wrestle in. Still ended up going to the tournament, tried to just force my way through it because I didn't want to give up the season. And yeah, after in the second match during the tournament, I remember I didn't want to wear the sleeve because it just felt so restrictive. I didn't feel like it helped me all that much during the match. So I didn't wear it for the second match. And I remember we just collar tied up and he just pulled on the elbow and it fell out in the first like 10 seconds of the match. And I was just like, this is just not working. So after that second match, I can't remember if I pulled out in the middle of the match or after it was over, pulled out of the tournament, and we went to a doctor the next day to get it looked at. Ended up figuring out it was torn almost completely in half, and I'd done some bone damage as well from popping it back into place so many times, which is awesome. But yeah, luckily my mom had a orthopedic surgeon who was a personal friend from tennis, and she fixed me up. I went through a decent number of months of recovery in a sling, and then through physical therapy. I remember being incredibly disappointed sitting in the stands of state and watching, watching not me out there on the mats.
Yeah.
So that was tough. I remember that. Like, yeah, I wanted to just rip the sling. I was still in the sling at the time, and I just remember wanting to rip that thing off and go down on their mats. And but yeah, went through physical therapy and was able to come back the next year, feeling pretty solid.
Now, I mean, I get it, and I mean, injuries are a part of any sport, especially wrestling. It being, two equally sized, equally weighted individuals in a combative scenario. Sometimes injuries happen, and they're not always on purpose. I mean, it just, if you've been around a wrestling mat or any type of combative sport for longer than a few minutes, you're going to understand that injuries happen. There's a reason why in wrestling, we have injury time, blood time, recovery time, and now the head, neck, cervical column, concussion time, evaluation time. Injuries happen. And doing the series and kind of becoming a more visual figure for the sport and the state of Kentucky wrestling just as a whole. People see me out at tournaments and, oh, Alex, we watch your rule videos, we watch your review videos. What's the biggest piece of advice you can give us? And for the most part, I'll tell younger parents, with little kids or whatever, that sometimes an injury is going to happen. That's part of it. And to not necessarily always be expecting it, just understand that sometimes, whoever, son, daughter, is going to get a busted nose. Sometimes they may hurt their arm. Sometimes they're going to maybe chip a tooth. We had in the state duels this year in the state finals, the kid from Ryle knocked a tooth out. Got up, kept on wrestling because he needed the team points. I mean, Sometimes injuries happen, and that's part of I guess, learning more about ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, is it something, am I hurt? Did I get hurt in a match? Or am I injured? Do I have a torn labrum? Do I have a torn ACL? Is it something that really needs to be, have a medical professional evaluate? Or is it something that I can say, yep, that hurt, but I can finish this match. Yep, I busted my nose. I may have stole my fingers up or whatever, but I'm going to finish this match because I know I can beat this person.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fine line to walk because the opposite could have happened, and I could have tried to, just muscle my way through the rest of the season, and then probably had a terrible senior year because I never got it fixed. So yeah, I think that's definitely a good point. Just knowing yourself and kind of you'll know if it's serious or not. Like you'll have that gut feeling, and you'll know whether or not you need to get it taken care of. So just don't ignore it.
And in the video below this one on the playlist, Chad Dalton, 2000 state champion from Simon Kenton, he tells the story. He was in practice. He was a senior or a junior running in practice in the mat room, gets a hairline fracture in his hip, and he has to tough out because back then it was districts, regions, and then state. So he had 3 weeks back to back to back where he had a hairline fracture and ends up winning a state championship. I actually start off his video by saying, don't tell me you can't win a state championship with a fractured hip because our guest done it. So it's kind of cool story, man. You was able to, have that injury and then come back and do what you were able to do. So let's talk about your 2013 season. 160 pounds, of course, a senior, and doing my research on track. You ended the season with a 30-4 record. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, that sounds roughly right. I think I had a couple. We went to a couple Indiana tournaments, and Ohio, maybe a Ohio one as well. And those Northern boys they're pretty tough. So I think I had some losses over there, and then maybe one. I can remember one specifically because it's the same person I wrestled in the finals. In Kentucky, and I don't remember if I lost to anyone else in Kentucky that year.
And whenever you were talking about sitting in the stands watching, we could have had a potential for a rematch from 2012 to 2013 with you and we'll talk about just a second, you and your opponent from the 2013 finals. But let's talk about your 2013 state tournament matches. First round, you wrestle Michael Kohler from Fern Creek. You win that by a tech fall, 21-4. Of course, those of you that don't know, Fern Creek is in the city of Louisville. Had you wrestled Michael before? Are you familiar with him?
I assume that we had. We wrestled Fern Creek quite a few times throughout the season, so most likely.
Okay, no, I just was curious.
Yeah, all of the very specific details are super fuzzy. It feels like forever ago now. So yeah, names and faces are a blur now. But
no, I get it. I understand, man. I get it. Second round, you win a decision over Dowling Tripapo from Boyle County. You win that by a 9-3 decision. You get to the quarters. You're wrestling Jonah Shacklet from Meade County. You win that by a fall in 1 minute and 15 seconds. So, man, you got to the quarters and you was meaning business, winning that by a fall. You get to the semis. You're wrestling Wyatt Courtney from Woodford County. You win that by a 7-4 decision, and Wyatt goes on to get 4th place. And I think in doing my research, I think you wrestled Wyatt in 11 and maybe 2010. I think you wrestled him all 3 years you were there.
I remember Wyatt. It's, despite my my inability to remember names and faces, I remember Wyatt very specifically because I wrestled him like 8 or 9 times throughout our history with each other. So we went head to head quite a few times. So I remember my parents being specifically like scared, like, all right, you've done great. Like, you've gone out there every time against him. Don't let the last time that you have to wrestle him be the time that he beats you. So yeah, I remember them. They were pumping a little bit of nerves into me before that one.
I can imagine, man. I can imagine that's a great point. And then you get to the finals, and you're wrestling Stephen Myers from Campbell County. Now, we're not going to tell you the score. We have the match video. We have a couple other videos from that 2013 that we've added in here. And it should be noted that Stephen is a returning state champion. He won 152 pounds in 2012. That review video is on the channel. And it could have been a French Meyer 2012 final and a French Myers 2013 finals as well. So is knowing that you're back out there, knowing that you're able to be in the state finals, when you win that semifinals match against somebody that, you said you kind of had the nerves, you wrestled 100 times, felt like when you win it, you come off the mat knowing you're in the finals. What's that emotion feel like? Talk us through that.
Man, I think weirdly, I was more nervous for my semifinals match than my finals. And I think it really boiled down to like I'd come to the tournament, I was doing the best that I could. I was doing well. I felt good. And all of the work that I had done up to that point had like come to fruition of proving that I was meant to be there. I made it to the finals and there was nothing left for me to prove. So, and I didn't look at these beforehand, but I remember being told afterwards that there were multiple pages of like where people will go in before the state finals starts. And there's like a forum where people will guess who they think, every weight class.
Yeah.
And multiple pages, everybody had him pegged to win. Now I don't like to like look at any of that stuff because I don't want anybody else in my own headspace. So I didn't know anything about that beforehand. But yeah, I mean, I felt like all the work that I had done, it gave me confidence in myself when I, just getting to the finals match, because I knew at that point, like I had almost achieved what I had come there to do. And I was more nervous about losing to someone that I had beat before than being able to prove myself, I guess, against someone that I had lost to earlier in the season. So
Yeah.
I don't wrestled Stefan once before early in the season, and for whatever reason, I felt confident that after wrestling him once, that I was now the underdog, and so I didn't have as much to prove as he did, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting feeling. I got oddly calm after the semifinals match. I was much more nervous before the semifinals than in the finals. So, and I think it really just had to do with like I'd done all the work, and I think the ultimate underlying factor of confidence is if you believe that all of the work that you had done is as much that you could have done, then there's no reason for you not to be confident. Confidence is preparation incarnated. So
Again, another soundbite I'm going to save and play in future videos. And it should be noted that in 2012, Campbell County won the team title. They had a phenomenal team. Stephen, his brother Austin, 4-time state champion, arguably probably the best wrestler ever come out of Kentucky. Well, he's on the Mount Rushmore. It depends on how you consider wrestling. There might be some better technicians, but Austin's 4 state championships and his record prove he needs to be on the Mount Rushmore. Mason Frank, Yenner. I mean, we go on and on and on with the names that was on that Campbell County team. And that we've done videos with everybody that won state championship, I believe, on that team for Campbell County. And the team title is still kind of in contention when you guys wrestle. And everybody in the gym or everybody in the horse park arena knows it. It's not it's not like it's a secret. And let's go over that team real quick. Now, these are the placers. These aren't everybody that was there that year, but these are just the placers. At 106 pounds, you guys had AJ Bender, 3rd place. Of course, AJ's 2015 review videos on the channel. He goes to Fern Creek and wins it that year. Hi, Mr. Cat or Mrs. Cat.
That's Stormy.
Hi, Stormy. You're going to be on our YouTube video, Stormy. So AJ Bender, 3rd place, 106 pounds. Max Corfage, 8th place at 120. Nathan Haddad at 8th place at 126 pounds. Justin Lampy won the state championship, had 145 pounds. And, of course, Justin goes on 2014, wins it as well. Dominic Lampy, second place at 152. And Dominic goes on 2014 and wins it. Noah Bauer, 170 pounds, second place. Brandon Pledger, second place at 182. And Connor Thompson at 195 pounds. And, of course, you're in the finals. So, and we'll go over the team score here just in a little bit. But when you go out, get ready to wrestle your match, do you realize how close the team score is?
I knew, but it wasn't on my mind.
I understand.
I was aware that our match could be a big swing point because going into the finals, I think we were in the top two positions, and who was it? There was somebody else that we were concerned with as well that I think was in third at the time.
Union County.
Union County. They had quite a few in the finals as well. So it was really a three-person race at this point, and it kind of could have gone to anybody depending on the finals. I knew obviously that our match with, us being in those top three would be a big swing point, but it wasn't at that point when it was, it was the finals, it was our rematch, one other time in the season. All I was thinking about was me and him.
No, I get it. And that's a perfect place to pull up your match video here. And you guys, of course, are seeing what we're seeing. Excuse me. We're at the All-Tech Arena in Fayette County, right there on the Fayette-Scott County line. We're filming this on February 5th, 2024, and we're having our state tournament, boys and girls state tournament there this year. Of course, the boys is a 2-day affair. Girls, as it is now, as of this filming, is a 1-day. I got selected to officiate the inaugural girls state championship, so I'm pretty happy about getting to do that. As of this filming, we officiated the girls regions last weekend, and it was just you can tell, man, the sport of girls wrestling is growing. I mean, it is unbelievable the number of girls, the number of teams that we had that are now able to come out and join, the wrestling team and have their own state championship. So it's kind of cool. But man, there's something about that one center mat and being from the city of Louisville, horses, we can't have the mats sprawled out there at Churchill. They're not going to let us put down mats under the Twin Spires. We know that. But being from horse country, everybody knows that Kentucky, they put bourbon, horses, and Kentucky Fried Chicken pretty much is what Kentucky's known for. So knowing our state wrestling championship is in the Horse Park Arena here at the Kentucky Horse Park, it's kind of fitting, don't you think?
Definitely.
It's kind of fitting.
Yeah,
So,
I remember when the switch happened after what was it, my junior year? Yeah, freshman and sophomore year they had it in the dungeon. You were saying, yep. So I remember that switch, and I like the new venue for sure. I remember the first year, I feel like there was a little bit of unevenness in the mats, actually, I will say, but I think my senior year I didn't notice that nearly as much.
I got to officiate the boys state in 2020, and when I come home and I was, getting my gear and everything, I had to put on my bags and my shoes and everything in the washing machine and clean it off because I had so much dust on it. Yep. I was like, my God, I didn't realize how, what you guys are seeing, that white floor, the dirt is literally right underneath that. They just put this white base down, this white faux flooring just for the mats. So it's kind of cool. But man, has it been a while since you've seen your finals video?
Yeah, it's been a minute. It has been a minute.
And all right, well, I'm excited to get it going, man. Here we go. So from the neutral position here, what's our go-to takedown? What are we looking to do here?
I'm a pretty offensive wrestler, so I like going for the legs a lot. I'm trying to just kind of get some feints in, move his head around, and then I'm trying to get into the legs. I don't really mind whether it's a single or a double. I like them both just as much. So I'm going for whatever. And the big thing I'm looking out for that I remember from my first match with him is the inside trip. He loves that inside trip.
I got you. And right there, you signaled, blood time. Did you have a bloody nose right out of the gate?
I think it was contact lenses.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
that happened all the time. You know, they would always come out with the contact lens solution, and I would always just pop it back in. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, unless there was
Gotcha.
something big on it. But yeah,
And you've got two really good officials out there. You have on the whistle, you have Garrett Pickle across from us, and right here facing or behind us, looking at his rear end, you got Jason Sidoris. Two really good refs. And actually, fun fact about this match is we done a referee review with Garrett, the head official here, about this match. That was our first referee review video because he remembered this match being so just intense and so just a great match. This is the one he chose to do. So there you are with the driving takedown. Get your two out of bounds.
Yep, like that, he went for that inside trip. I knew it was coming, so I was like, my plan was when he goes for the trip, stand strong, drive through, and try to just, you know, beat him at his own game, basically, because he had me in that front headlock, and he loves that front headlock inside trip combo.
Yeah. Now on the top position, there's a good lift in return. Are we a turn type of guy, legs in, boots in? What are we looking to do here?
Yeah, I typically like legs in. If I can, I like being able to like crank people over with the legs, get some back points there.
Yeah.
I definitely think my strongest point is on my feet more so than on the mat. But yeah, usually throwing legs in and coming crossbody is usually where I would start. He was quick to get his hands off the mat though, so
Yeah.
he was not giving me a lot of chance to work from the top position. I needed to get more pressure on him for sure.
So we're starting the second period here. You stand up, get your escape point right away. So I believe it's 3-0 now. But Garrett hit you with a stall right there at the end of the first. So man, you gotta push the pace now.
I do.
I like those singlets you got on that. That finals look of a singlet. That's nice.
Yeah, they've got that pale gold look to them. It was cool.
This is a big arena. I don't know the exact number of seats. That's something I guess I should have memorized. But do you remember hearing the crowd being crazy?
No, that all disappears when you're on the mat.
I got you.
Disappears.
And that was whenever I got to officiate here in 2020. I mean, I refereed a Union County, and Union County had the biggest fan section of them all. And it sounded like I was in like a middle of the forest, man. I didn't hear nothing out there.
Yeah, it is. It just goes away. Like when you're like, it's surprising what the human brain can do when you were just hyper focused on a single thing. Like the absolute roar of thousands of people can just disappear.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't until the match was over that and obviously because the match was over, like everybody's cheering. So like, you know, it brings that roar up to another volume, but it wasn't until the match was over that I like came back into the world and started hearing everybody again.
Yeah. So we're in the second period here still. We're both neutral. I believe you're up 3-0. You got a takedown and an escape. But you guys are wrestling hard though. End of the second, Stephen takes down, looks like, which is smart, knowing that he's got to get some points. I seen you try to throw that boot in there, but he wasn't having any of it.
Yep.
And you kind of cut him there, so it's 3-1.
Yeah, I would rather just come back onto the feet and go for another takedown and try to fight him. I was definitely most confident on my feet.
This is like I said, man, Stephen is a returning state champion, so it's not like you're, wrestling somebody that accidentally made it to the finals here.
Yeah, definitely not. He was good. We were battling a lot. Like, it's probably difficult to see, like, all of the nuance going into the tie-ups and stuff like here, us fighting for position to try to get advantage on, making our moves. But all of those collar ties and wrist controls and stuff like that, like it's a battle.
Oh yeah. And of course, anybody that knows wrestling, man, they respect that. Believe me. He hits a nice little slide by on you, and I believe he cut you. I believe so. Right now the score is 4-3,
Yep.
and he's trying to get another takedown on you, man. We know that's the plan, and he knows that.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, I think
I'm
he just
guessing that
didn't
he
wanna
knows
waste
that you've
time.
got to stall, so you have to. He knows you have to be aggressive. You can't back up, so he's going to push it. I've had to turn the volume down almost to nothing, and it's still coming through. And that's the end of the match. You win it by a score 5-3. You throw the X up.
Oh yeah, I distinctly remember that part right there. When I stood up and I faced the crowd, I remember like the whole St. X stands just going absolutely crazy. And when I threw that X up, I remember my dad holding his clipboard and just jumping up and down, like legs in the air, just like screaming his lungs out. I remember seeing him and my mom both losing their minds on the stands.
I can believe that, man. I can believe that. That's a heck of an accomplishment being able to do that. And it's parents or guardians or caretakers, whoever it is that, whenever they, like you said, started in 6th grade, the number of Saturdays, the number of Sundays, weeknights, travel they've spent in the gym, on the road, and they finally get to see you pay it off, man. It's just something special about this sport.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean it's a team sport, but it's also a solo sport, like the team aspect matters and you can't do it without anybody else, but once you're out on the mat, it's just you and just seeing I think them seeing that hard work pay off, I think was really rewarding for them. And me
Oh
seeing them
yeah,
here in the stands after I won was absolutely a core memory.
I can believe that. There's Stephen. Of course, Stephen was a senior as well this year. Coach Mike Bancamper giving him his medal. There you come, man.
Top head and all.
Yeah. Of course, taking your place on the rifle, and the camera, for some reason, doesn't show it. You take it, but it does have your presentation of winning the most outstanding wrestler this year. And it was a great performance in the finals, man. Great performance.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a surprise. That was
And of course,
definitely a surprise.
the team state championship, the third for St. Xavier.
Yeah, I think our last team one was when I think it might have been when Canada was still on
It was 2001. You had Isaac on that team.
Yep.
A couple other guys, the names escape me, but I want to go over something real quick here. In that tournament, you scored with your wins and your advancement and your placement, you scored 27.5 team points. St. Xavier won the team title over Campbell County. St. Xavier accumulated 203.5 team points, and Campbell County accumulated 193. So you win it, the team title by 10.5 point or 10.5 points. And people kind of new to the sport don't understand every specific way that you win, every advancement that you have in the championship bracket or consolation bracket, those accumulate. So if you're looking to win a team title, whether it's the state championship or even like a weekend tournament, every little point matters. Because just as an example, in the 2022 season, I believe it was, Johnson Central and Rowell was battling for the second and third place spot, and Johnson ends up winning or comes in state runner-up by half a team point. So every little point matters. Every little half a point matters. And especially when you guys know you've got the team that can do it, tell them, hey, guys, let's not play around here. Let's get some pins early when we can. let's all advance in the championship bracket. Let's get a big lead, and hopefully we can hold on to it.
Yeah, you definitely got to leave it all on the mat. I mean, it was definitely, if there was any year, it was definitely that was going to be our year. I mean, it was one of those teams where everyone, without anyone needing to say anything, stayed after and did the extra work, practiced the stuff that they needed to polish up on, just did some push-ups and pull-ups, like ran some laps, like just got that extra work in. And yeah, I mean, that was definitely our year. If we were going to do it, it was going to be that year. And I think everybody gave it their all.
And of course, with that, most outstanding, you become St. Xavier's third most outstanding. Of course, Isaac did it, and Isaac Knable, four-time state champion, good friend of the channel. Isaac did it in 2001 and 2002. And of course, you done it in 2013. And the winning an individual state championship, being selected the most outstanding wrestler, and winning the team state championship, that's a very, very rare feat. And I went through and I was making a list before we got on here. I just want to go over it real quick. And I believe I got everybody. There may be somebody in the 60s that I just didn't see, or the 70s, but I feel pretty confident with my list from about 81 forward. 1985, 80 Persons from Hopkinsville, he did it. 1992, Willie Ennels did the same feat from Hopkinsville. 1994, Bruce Stepp from Sheldon Clark. 1997, Joe Carr Jr. from Woodford County. Of course, Isaac in 01. Mitch Irvin from Union County in 07. Caleb Irvin in 2011 from Union. And then Brock Irvin from Union County 2014. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people in the 60 years of the state tournament have done it, man, and you're one of them. So you had a phenomenal senior season.
It's an honor to be among those names for sure. I've got another little tidbit of information, which was also another absolute honor. I don't know if you know this or not, but at the end of the match, when I threw up the X to the crowd, I gave him the X. There was a cameraman. I can't remember if he was specifically one of St. X's cameramen or he was just doing photos for the entire state tournament, but he was behind me and he captured like me throwing the X up to the crowd. And when all the seniors got together after the tournament was over and everything like that, they had a meeting with us like a week later at school about designing our state championship ring. And everyone had seen that picture of me throwing up the X. All of the seniors decided that they were going to put the silhouette of me throwing up the X on the side of our state ring.
Oh, that is awesome. You'll have to send me photos so I can insert that.
I will.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We've got to have. Do you have a copy of that photo too?
I can try to find it. I think my parents have it printed out. I'm pretty sure.
We'll have to insert that in too, man. That's awesome, because that's one of those images that you see in like highlight reels, or like, when it comes time for the football championship, the Desmond striking the Heisman pose, or
right, exactly.
just, the Jordan flu game, or the Jerry West NBA logo. I mean, there's things like that you see, you're just like, what that is, you know what I mean? And everybody else that knows, oh man, that's when French done that in 2013, man. I remember that.
Yeah, so
that's cool, bro. That's awesome.
Huge honor from the rest of my season.
Man, just like I said, phenomenal performance in the finals, absolute deserving of the most outstanding. And off camera earlier, you were telling me that you went to college in wrestle. So tell us a little about your collegiate career.
I did, yeah. So I got a partial scholarship to IU. Went up to Bloomington, Indiana University, and wrestled there for my first 2 years. And that's you hear it all the time, but wrestling D1 in college, or doing any sport D1 in college, really is like a job. It was a whole nother level. I thought we were giving it all we had in high school. Absolutely not. I mean, we were in there probably 3 times a day, doing really long runs in the morning, or like an hour and a half long lift, then going to school, doing your 2-hour practice in the afternoon, And then if you had weight to cut to make weight, or you just needed extra work, you were probably coming in again after practice. So you were in there 2, 3 times almost every day. And yeah, it was a crazy job. So yeah, I did that for my first 2 years and decided that I was ready to leave it behind. Just wanted to focus on academics and yeah,
That's
it,
awesome though, man. For real that you were able to wrestle in the Big Ten, the B1G. You
it
know what
was,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
it was a great experience. It was a great experience. And I love my teammates. They were great.
And we of course Isaac went to IU, and we also done a memorial video for Jason Davio, two-time state champion from Scott. Of course, that review video is on, but Nick Spatola wrestled at IU with Isaac. So we have a pretty good Hoosier connection here on the channel, man. And of course, we have Isaac Thornton, Walton Verona state champion. He's at IU. And so just like I said, a great Hoosier connection here on the channel, and that's great that we have that many Division I wrestlers on the channel. That means Kentucky wrestling's doing something. So, man, we've covered a lot of ground. We've covered a lot of topics. Before we wrap this one up and put a bow on it, is there anything else you'd like to bring up or add or take away for the greater good?
No, I mean, yeah, I would say just like I said before, if you're an aspiring wrestler, and you want confidence out in your matches, there is no replacement to hard work. So when you've done the hard work and you've done the preparation, that's when the confidence comes without you trying for it. So yeah, I would say if you feel like you want more confidence in your matches, do the hard work and then you'll feel like you earned it.
No, I completely agree, man. And I want to say thank you for doing the review video. We've been trying to get this set up for seems like a few months, and finally was able to get it lined out, man, get it done. And I wanted to get you on the channel before the state tournament comes around. That way, everybody, because I think I've refereed 20 meets this year, 21 meets, something to that effect. And everywhere we go, wrestlers, coaches, parents, people that recognize me from the channel, they come up and they're like, "Man, we can't wait for another video to drop." We dedicate family time to watching your videos, or we'll set our youth team down and just watch the match video, and we'll point out training tips. Hey, look how good he's doing this move, or look at what this whoever it may be. Look at how Joe Carr done this takedown, or look at how Isaac Knable hit that head and arm for the pin in the finals in 02, whatever. And I'm glad of the community that this channel has been able to build, what this series represents for a lot of people. And I'm just glad to, be the figurehead. I'm glad to be able to provide quality, entertaining content for our sport, for the rest of the world to see, and just to let the world know just how good Kentucky wrestling truly is. Because we got some great wrestlers in Kentucky, and it's been hid too long. And I like leading the charge of saying, daggone it, I'm from Kentucky. My sport of wrestling is going to be the most visible high school sport on YouTube, and we're there. We're the most visible Kentucky high school sport on YouTube, Kentucky wrestling. Who would have ever thought, right? Doesn't involve a round ball that you shoot through a hoop. Nothing against that sport. I love it. I like watching it. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing. If that's your sport, I wish you the best. But our sport's wrestling, and I'm glad to say that Kentucky wrestling leads the charge of being the most visible, the most accessible, the most watched, the most viewed Kentucky sport in existence. And it's stories like Hunter's, man, that's able to keep the channel going, keep people coming back. And it's just great that, we're able to do this and let the world see, man. We got a lot going on in the bluegrass. We really do. So, man,
let's keep going, man.
Again, thank you for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. And to the St. X crowd, send me some guys my way. We need some state champions sent my way. There's a few that we've been in contacts with, but just if you can help me get up with some other guys from St. Xavier or any school for that matter, I'd love to contact them and get them on the channel. So, guys, That's all we have. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the mats.